There's a secret nobody tells you when you're growing up. You're taught to work hard, to get good grades, to find a stable job, and to build a secure future. But the truth is this: the system you were trained to trust was never designed to make you rich. It was built to keep you comfortable, just comfortable enough not to question it. Because the modern 9 to 5 isn't just a job, it's a trap. It's a cycle so polished, so socially accepted, that most people will live their entire lives inside it, thinking they're free, when in reality they're caged by design. Let's start with the history no one ever talks about. The 9 to 5 work model was born in the early 1900s, not to empower workers, but to make them predictable. Factories needed consistency, governments needed tax revenue, corporations needed compliance. And the easiest way to achieve all three was to train human beings to value obedience over freedom. You were never taught how to build wealth. You were taught how to fit into a machine that needs your time more than your creativity. That's why schools reward memorization, not innovation, because the goal was never to produce thinkers. It was to produce workers. The 9 to 5 system teaches you just enough to participate, but not enough to escape. You're taught how to earn money, not how to multiply it. You're taught how to budget, not how to build. You're taught to look for stable income instead of creating independent cash flow. And once you buy into that pattern, wake up, commute, work, rest, repeat, you become a self-sustaining piece of the machine. You trade your energy for a salary that barely keeps up with inflation. It's genius, and it's cruel, because the longer you stay inside it, the less time and courage you have to break free. The truth is, the system doesn't pay you what you're worth, it pays you just enough to forget what you're capable of. You get a paycheck that feels safe. You get weekends that feel like freedom. You get promotions that feel like progress. But all of it is designed to make you stay. It's not about keeping you poor in the sense of having no money. It's about keeping you mentally poor, dependent, distracted, comfortably stuck. And every time you start dreaming bigger, the system gently whispers, "Be realistic." Here's something you'll never hear in a corporate meeting. If everyone became financially independent, the system would collapse. Think about that. If people stopped needing jobs, who would do the work that fuels the economy? Who would produce, serve, consume, and pay taxes? The system depends on your dependency. That's why the moment you start questioning it, you're labeled as reckless, unrealistic, or even lazy, because the machine can't afford for you to wake up. While you spend 40 hours a week building someone else's dream, someone else is building systems that make money without them. While you're trading time for wages, the wealthy are trading capital for assets that generate income on their own. And here's the uncomfortable part. Both of you have the same 24 hours in a day. The difference is how you are programmed to use them. Most people use time to earn money. The rich use money to buy time. That's the great reversal that no school ever taught you. Let's go even deeper. Have you noticed how the system rewards debt? Credit cards, student loans, mortgages, all normalized, all wrapped in the language of opportunity. Debt keeps you tied to your job. It's not just financial, it's psychological. When you owe, you obey. And the system knows that. You won't risk starting that business because you have a mortgage. You won't take 6 months off to learn investing because you have car payments. You won't question your boss because your next raise is already spent. That's how the trap sustains itself, through fear disguised as responsibility. And here's another truth. The modern job market isn't designed to make you rich. It's designed to make you replaceable. Companies call it efficiency. But what they really mean is cheaper labor. You're trained to specialize, to become highly skilled at one thing. And that's exactly why they can underpay you. Because when you only know how to do one thing, you're easy to control. The rich, on the other hand, are generalists. They know a little bit about a lot of things, enough to connect ideas, see patterns, and create systems. That's why they lead while others follow. You are told to climb the corporate ladder. But here's the irony. The ladder is inside someone else's building. You can't win a game when you don't own the board. Every hour you work for a company, you're helping build someone else's passive income, not your own. You're creating wealth. It's just not yours. That's why the rich say, don't work for money, make money work for you. Because once you understand that money is a servant, not a master, you begin to see the invisible chains for what they are. And yet, most people defend the system. They say, at least I have a job. They mistake survival for success. But survival is not living, it's endurance. And endurance without purpose is just a slow death of potential. The saddest part? The system rewards obedience, not intelligence. It promotes the quiet worker who never questions, not the one who dreams of changing the rules. That's why mediocrity is celebrated and creativity is contained. If you're still listening, it means you're different. It means something inside you already knows this isn't how life is supposed to be. And if that's you, then take a second to follow this channel and like this video. Because what you'll hear here isn't surface level motivation. It's the truth behind the curtain, the logic that frees you from a lifetime of quiet slavery. Let's be honest, escaping the 9 to 5 isn't easy. It requires unlearning decades of conditioning. It requires facing fear, the fear of losing security. But that security you're afraid to lose, it was never real. Real security doesn't come from a paycheck. It comes from skills, adaptability, and ownership. When you own something, an idea, a business, an investment, a piece of intellectual property, you have leverage. And leverage is what separates the free from the trapped. Leverage means your time is no longer the only thing that makes you money. The rich understand this intuitively. They don't chase jobs, they build networks. They don't ask for raises, they raise their value. They don't look for guarantees, they look for growth. They're not trying to survive inside the system. They're trying to outgrow it. That's why the 9 to 5 feels wrong to so many people. It's not because you're lazy or ungrateful. It's because your spirit was never meant to be traded for hourly pay. Here's a question worth asking. When you wake up every day, are you building your dream or someone else's? If you stopped showing up to your job tomorrow, would your income stop too? If the answer is yes, you're not secure, you're enslaved by consistency. Financial freedom isn't about millions of dollars. It's about the ability to say no. No to bad clients, no to bad managers, no to trading your soul for a salary. Freedom is when you own your time. And time, not money, is the real currency of the rich. Now here's something almost nobody talks about. The system doesn't just trap your time, it traps your energy. It keeps you too tired to build anything after work. You come home, drained. Your creativity is gone. You scroll through your phone looking for an escape, and the system sells it right back to you. Netflix, alcohol, shopping, distraction, all perfectly designed outlets to keep you numb but functioning. Because a tired mind doesn't rebel, it consumes. That's how the modern world keeps you working and spending, without realizing you're stuck in a loop designed by people who profit from your exhaustion. But here's the good news. Once you see the system for what it is, you can't unsee it. Once you realize your time is your most valuable asset, you start protecting it like gold. That's when real change begins. You start reading about money, not just earning it. You start investing small, not waiting for someday. You start creating income streams that exist even when you're asleep. And slowly, you move from being a worker to being an owner. Before we finish, remember this. Your 9 to 5 is not evil. It's just limited. It's a starting point, not a life sentence. Use it as fuel, not as a prison. Take the skills you're learning there and turn them into something of your own. Because the real tragedy isn't working a job, it's never realizing you could have built something bigger while you still had the chance. So, if this message hit you deeply, subscribe to Rich Logic right now. Because this channel isn't here to comfort you, it's here to wake you up. Like this video, share it with someone still trapped in the 9 to 5, and remember, the system was never built to make you free. You were built to outgrow the system.